Hey guys, what's up? Serena here from thriftdiving.com. Today I'm back. I've been gone for probably 4 weeks. Well, no, I've been around, but you just haven't seen me on my channel. Well, today I'm actually going to be doing some gardening, some planting in this shady part of my house. It's this walkway that I've been transforming over the years, but I never really put something pretty in this spot. So now we're going to be doing some planting, and I'm teaming up with Troy-Bilt for this project. This is all part of our Fence Talks project we've been doing for the last month, and I'm teaming up with a master gardener. Her name is Emily from Pistil, which I love that name, Pistil. And she and I are going to be tackling this side yard. She gave me some amazing recommendations, and I actually went to the nursery and found a lot of these plants that she recommended, which are native to the state of Maryland, which is where I live. So in this video, we're going to be doing some planting. You're going to get to see the before and after. I had no idea what to choose. So let's jump into this planting right now. First though, I want to show you the evolution of this side yard of mine. On the left is what it looked like before we moved in, like right after we moved in. It was full of weeds. There was no definition. And about 3 years ago, I actually put in a walkway. It looks so good, so fresh. But guess what? Like everything that you do to your house, eventually the weeds take over. And so it started looking pretty mangled. And when I teamed up with Emily, I said, Emily, I need something that's going to make this pretty and alive, and something that is going to thrive in this area of my side yard that doesn't get a lot of sunlight. So the trees from the neighbors block a lot of the sunlight coming in, and I wanted something that was going to be low maintenance, something that would give me a little bit of color, and I wanted her to select some plants that if I could just plant them once and do very low maintenance and they'll come back year after year, those are the kind of perennials I wanted. So this is the plan that she drafted for me. I thought it was perfect with ferns. I did not know what hellebores was. This is a hellebore as the one that was at my local nursery. And I also got some hostas, and there's different varieties, but I got the variegated ones. And also two ostrich ferns. I picked up some of those. And I think what makes those a little different from the other ferns is that these ones seem to be a little bit more upright. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to select plants that wouldn't fall over into the walkway. Now, Dicentra, I do believe those are called bleeding hearts. And I think there's a couple variety. This is what my local nursery had. I loved the color. And apparently they're going to bloom like in the spring. So I love that. Now, I could not find a spice bush anywhere. And so I decided to get an azalea, and then I also decided to get some of these little Liriope. I'd never heard of them. I cannot pronounce that without looking at it on a piece of paper, but that is what I bought. And when everything was said and done, this is the planting that I had arranged. I knew I didn't stick with the 3 and 5 groups, which is generally what you should do. But I did my best. I was sweating my butt off, and I tried to stick to the recommendations on the little ticket with keeping these ferns, I believe, 18 inches apart. So I got started with the digging, and it was tough, I tell you, with all of the heat and the sweat. But thankfully, my husband came out and he helped. So I had him do a lot of the digging, and then I just kind of followed behind him and did the planting. I did kind of the easy part, at least on day 1. And also I want to point out that if you are planting in an area that has tons of weeds, try using a string trimmer to cut those weeds down. And then you can either put down cardboard or like a weed block fabric. Here I didn't have a lot of weeds, so I didn't even bother putting any fabric down. I didn't have to use a string trimmer. I just used the garden hoe just to clear this out. And then it was time for planting. All right, so it is day 2 of the planting, and I honestly feel like I've been in a boxing match. That's how tired I am, and sore, my hamstrings. So today we are actually going to plant, these are bleeding hearts. These are, I cannot pronounce this, Liriope. Am I wrong? Liriope. And we also have some additional ferns, some ostrich ferns, and what are those called? Hellebores. Don't know anything about them, but they were recommended, and I think they're going to look pretty good. So let's go ahead and get the digging done and try not to die in this 90-degree heat. Oh. I told you that I couldn't say Liriope, and I found out some really good information about how to care for these. This is from the guy at the nursery.
And you cut them right about there.
In March?
In March.
Okay.
In the beginning of spring, early spring. And by May, they would look like this.
Okay.
But you just cut it. I mean, it's no. It doesn't have to be perfect cutter. Just cut it right, like 3 inches from the bottom, and
Okay.
they come right back.
Perfect. And what happens if you don't do that?
Sometimes when they get kind of overgrown a little bit, the bottom is like it'll start like you're not dying, but like the dead needs to be cleaned out. It's a lot easier just if you do it every year. It just boom. It takes you 30 seconds. But if you let it go for like 5 years, they're going to get about this wide and they get kind of crumply,
Oh, okay. So that was good to know. That's always been one of my challenges is what do I do and when to my plants? So knowing that I have to cut back those Liriope every March was good. Another challenge that I have is we've got clay here in Maryland. And so in order to amend that soil, I had to get some leaf grow so that every time I planted one of the plants, I would put some of that in the hole and then put the plant in, just breaking up that root ball so that it would plant very well, and then just filling in with some of the leaf grow. And of course, I didn't want to have big heaps of soil, clay soil left in the garden bed, so I just filled in on top with that. Now, one of the shrubs I was looking for was a spice bush, which is native to Maryland, but I couldn't find them at any of the nurseries. So I just picked an azalea bush, and I hope that this is going to work, but I'm thinking that it'll give me some nice color. And these hellebores will also give me some nice color as well when it's time for them to bloom. I picked up about 15 bags of mulch, and that was exactly what I needed in order to fill this in. And I also did some pressure washing. It's been a number of years since I've cleaned this up. I really wish there was a way that I could clean up the walkway, but no matter what I did, I couldn't get rid of the grungy look of the walkway. So I think I'm just going to have to deal with that. But here is what it looked like before. You see that there was really no personality to this side shady part of my house. And now it looks fantastic. I cannot wait for things to start growing in. And it's probably going to take another couple of years for it to really start to get a little bit of personality where things bloom and grow. But hey, I've got time. I don't plan to leave this house anytime soon. And it feels nice walking down this way and seeing that somebody actually took time to plant some pretty things here. So let's go take a look at the other side of my house, which is where we have the blueberries and the grapes. And that's also something else that Emily was helping me with. There was tons of weeds. I was getting no blueberries and I needed mulch. Well, probably about a week or two after Emily and I had spoken, she said, Serena, you're getting this huge tree cut down because there's so much shade in your yard. Why don't you have them leave some of these wood chips on your property and you'll be able to use this as mulch for the blueberries. So I stalked them and they were nice enough to leave some of them behind for the blueberries. I did hear from them that they thought that it would be too much nitrogen. It would pull too much nitrogen from the plants, but I took Emily's suggestion, got the berry tone, added the mulch, and yeah, so hopefully, crossing my fingers, in the spring, next spring, I will get enough blueberries to say it's a success. Emily also recommended that I get one of these meters. It was like $12, $13 online to tell me if my soil was too alkaline or too acidic. And sure enough, for blueberries, this is way too alkaline. So hopefully with the berry tone, doing that now and then also twice in the spring will help yield more berries. My grapes are a whole different story. They're being terrorized by Japanese beetles, but that's a whole different post on another day. Anyway, I'm so excited to be doing this project with Troy-Bilt and Emily. This is called Fence Talks, and this was something that Troy-Bilt decided to do with myself and other bloggers to help us solve common outdoor problems that we all have. And this was my problem, how to select plants for a shady yard and to get those blueberries to grow. Well, I've been solving other problems around my home in the last month. Remember that tree that I removed, all that shade that it was causing in my house? Well, look how dark it was. I'm telling you guys, once that tree came down, it just opened everything up. So if you enjoyed this project, this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to go to Troy-Bilt on Instagram, and you can find them on Facebook, and leave a comment down below. What problem are you having in your garden, and how can Troy-Bilt and Thrift Diving, and of course, Past the Pistil, help you figure that out? And I'll see you next project.